Is this game actually bad, or am I just a moron and don't understand this majestic piece of art that is Syphon Filter? But first things first, my name is Delta Gamer. I'm a real man, I'm a real gamer. And today we're going to be reviewing Syphon Filter PS1 Classic on the PS4/PS5. Now here's a quick documentary about Ben Studio. Now if you're not familiar with this studio like I was at first, this is the studio behind one of the few lackluster and PS4 exclusives, Days Gone. If you know anything about the game, you most likely would think the same, being that it's another take on an open world zombie apocalypse survivor game that does nothing to have a new spin on that genre except for calling the zombies freakers. But before making Days Gone, they first made Apple Newton games like Columbo's Mystery Capers, Dell Crossword Puzzles, Motel, and etc. And then decided to move to console gaming and first released Buzzbeat 3D, and then within years passing they released the game we're discussing today, Syphon Filter. Also, I would like to give them their props. They made an okay Uncharted game, but they shoehorned in so many of the proprietary Vita features that it was unfortunately doomed a future port of the game to home and camera systems. But back to the main topic. Now, to be fair, one of the main reasons of playing this game was to take advantage of my premium membership of PS Plus, since I decided to go ahead and explore this particular tier for a year and probably the future. Since I don't mind playing older games and believe that companies should archive and have an option for some form of backwards compatibility, I thought this would be a great game since everybody raved about how great and revolutionary this game/series was from Ben Studio and PlayStation, and how they would love a new Syphon Filter for the PS5. But boy was I wrong. First thing I'm going to start with is the pros of everything that I liked about the game, which is down near non-existent. But seriously, there was one feature that I did like, and that's the rewind feature. My god, I know that's available for every classic game on PS Plus, but this feature made it slightly easier to digest this game, especially when I had to beat the time segments and couldn't cut in time, or when I'm controlling the character with the awful controls and just fall off a ledge, or when I set off the alarm and I'm dealing with crazy enemy hostiles. But all of this wouldn't be an issue if they had proper save points. But whatever, like I said, the rewind feature was great. Oh yeah, another thing that I enjoyed was the cheat code. It as well made the game easier to digest without having to worry about ammo resources. Something that future games should really bring back. Like honestly, who remember cheat codes? That was fucking great, especially like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now where do I start with all the negatives of this game? Okay, first the story. And before I start, this game did come out in the 90s, so this is a product of that time, but now it's a relic of its time as well. The story was cheesy and boring and didn't provide any interest except over-the-top action scenes with no clear, decisive direction, and played out movie tropes from spy movies like 007 and Mission Impossible, and probably some of the Steven Seagal movies. Now, the story follows Gay Logan, an agent who worked for the US government and whose main mission to try and stop/avoid bioweapon attacks known as Syphon Filter towards specific targets, i.e. subway stations, national parks in America, which is also caused by the antagonist Romer, in which he as well is trying to infiltrate his bases so he can eliminate him in his plans. That's about it as a summary, but if you want more in-tune detail, just look at a story breakdown video or a written summary on the web. Now the second issue is the controls, which I'm actually surprised that I did get used to the default controls to where I actually finished the game using them, but they were still awful enough to where I was using one analog stick to move and turn, not able to use the triggers to shoot, which is L2 and R2. Inverted aim was turned on, which was pure tomfoolery. Also, there was an option to change the controls, and they were pretty useless since all it did was turn invert aim off, and it's pretty tricky to do. It's not straightforward, which is an odd choice/decision that they did. Now, my main problem with this game was the extreme amount of times that there was no clear direction on where to go/do, which led to me being lost a lot, which could have been fixed with a directional or objective marker. This game at most is a 4-hour game, and when I tell you about a good 80% of the time I was lost, which led to the game being longer than usual. Now the first time I got stuck, guess where I was? You guessed it, the first mission. I knew I was going to be stuck longer if I didn't have a guide or a video to look at. Now tell me when I got stuck the first time, I didn't know I had to shoot this computer to move on to the next objective. And I would take some blame for not probably paying full attention, but the computer/satellite look like it's a part of the map aesthetic and just there to be a prop. Now moving on into the next part of the same mission, I got lost again, not knowing where to go because I apparently couldn't realize that I had to just randomly hop over a wall and bust through the window. I mean, look at this shit. And I'm thinking I had to go all the way to the other part of the back of the map and go into the bank apparently, and that's how you continue through the story. But no, I was wrong. I had to literally jump over this wall, kill this enemy, then shoot the glass out, hop over there, and go into another part of the mission. I mean, it was just no clear direction on where to progress next properly. Then, if that wasn't enough, tell me why I get down to the next objective of the same mission, not knowing where the hell to go or do. But first, let me make it clear, I'm not upset about the earliest things as much, which I will take some blame for being ignorant. But how in the hell do y'all know y'all had to pull out a flashlight back then? Something that I was unaware that I had to look at a power box, and I knew I had to be looking for a switch, but it could have at least had a writing prompt at the bottom saying pull out flashlight, but no, it didn't. I was just literally roaming around down there and like thinking maybe I just got to hit the switch in this black part and hopefully it works. But of course that didn't work, because the only way for it to work is you pull out your flashlight. Honestly, horrible made / design game in my opinion. And let me tell you something, this is not the last of it. It was more things that was in this game. There was no directional marker to go to or what to do properly. It wasn't listed properly. Yes, you had your objectives in the pause menu, but with those objectives, they tell you what to do, but still doesn't tell you how to properly do it. For instance, say with this made up mission, the main objective is to blow up a library, and the game drops you into the level, no directional objective markers, and the whole time you're just roaming around the library trying to figure out what to do. And you look up a video and it shows you that all you had to do was hop on top of a library shelf and randomly push one of the action buttons in a random specific spot of the shelf. That was down there my experience the whole game, and it was frustrating. Alright, I think one of my most hated missions and one of just the worst missions in general on this game had to be the warehouse mission. This mission was clearly not properly QA'd or tested at all, because I don't know how the developers thought I guess the player is just supposed to randomly say, oh, I know what I need to do. I need to randomly go to a random spot on the map and hold the action button. I believe it was triangle or X. You hold the action button and you just randomly place the bomb down. I couldn't believe, when I looked up the tutorial or the walkthrough of this game, I could not believe what I was seeing. I really could not believe what I was seeing. I thought, at least they wanted you to, throw a grenade at the packages or the crates in there, or use a rocket launcher or whatever. No. They wanted you to just go to a random spot on the game and hold the action button and place the button down. In case you didn't know, that's the reason why I said that last analogy for the library. That's how this mission basically was. Just go to a random spot on the map, hold down the action button, and then you can progress to the next part of the game. And by the way, you just didn't have to do one spot. You had to do at least, I believe there was 5 spots you had to do in all on that map. It probably would have been a little bit more, I'm not sure. But yeah, it was a horrible made mission, and just overall a horribly made design game as well.
That's the last viral carrier. Your beacons are transmitting, and a CBDC team's been dispatched to clean up. But their ETA is at least 2 hours. You're still on your own down there.
So another thing I wanted to talk about was the boss fights. Now, if I can remember correctly, there was only 2 boss fights. One of them was taking place in, like, I don't even know how to describe this room, but it was pretty unclear what to do. This is another one I had to look up. Apparently, I had to I had to get him in a certain direction where he was facing away from me, and I had to shoot him in his back. Even though I had a rocket launcher, it still took like, I don't know how many tries to kill him. It was like more than it needed to take if I had a fucking rocket launcher or a grenade launcher or whatever. So that was unnecessary hard. Also with the controls, that was one of the times where the controls was just so awful that it probably made that boss fight harder than normal. And the other boss fight I can recall was the final boss with Romer. And that one was pretty weird because I'm using a grenade launcher, rocket launcher or whatever, and I'm looking at that and I'm shooting him multiple times, and it's just not working. And I had to go in this above the map and go through this glass and get the gas grenades and use them on Romer. I don't understand why he's immune to a rocket launcher, but a gas grenade is the only way to kill him. That was another one. I just felt like that whole boss fight was just It was okay. I didn't have a problem with it until I realized there's no way I'm going to be able to progress by just using this rocket launcher and shooting them regularly. The only way to take them out is through a gas grenade, which, whatever. At that point, I was just happy to beat the game, just call it a day, and like, whatever. And so the next thing is the platinum. So the platinum, I would rank it a 2 out of 10 for the most part. There is a chapter select if you enter the cheat code. So after you beat the game, you should be okay to just go back and do chapter select. For the most part, it was okay. The platinum wasn't too crazy. Go ahead and list up the last few things. The graphics are shitty. The frames per second are shitty. And this game, both the PS4 and PS5 version, the completion rate is extremely low. So one of my things to go to do when I'm doing the playing the games, just looking at how many people completed the game. And one of the main ways I can do that is going to the trophies on PlayStation on PSN profiles, or going to the PlayStation trophies on the system itself. And when I tell you the completion rate is low, it's low. You want to know why it's low? For a certain reason. I believe it's a dumb made. It's just a horrible made game. I guarantee you, majority of people don't want to. No, nobody want to look up a guide to play a game consistently. And I guarantee people was lost the majority of the time. Like, you know what? I got better things to play. This game is already a game made from the late 90s, so the frames is gonna be bad. The graphics is gonna be bad, and the controls are bad. But if you still got a straightforward game on what to do, I think more people would have completed this game. A lot of people didn't. A lot of people fell off. The percentage is low. I think one of the trophies just for beating the game is when you defeat Romer and you get another trophy right out there for just completing the game. It shows for the percentage. It shows who you firing the game up to the percentage. It shows to when you get the first trophy you are most likely to get. It's a huge drop off. In conclusion, overall, my review for this game is a negative 2 out of 10. Honestly, I believe if your nostalgia goggles are not on, or you don't truly enjoy these low poly games, which have become more popular / had a resurgency in the last few years, mainly with the horror game genre, then you wouldn't definitely enjoy this. Overall, my name's Dell the Gamer. I'm a real man. I'm a real gamer. Thanks for watching.